Hello, my friend. Welcome to Flow with Jess. You know, when I was getting ready to record this, I had this little vision pop into my mind to put on this shirt. And when I went to put it on, I realized that there was a name tag on it. And I was like, what in the world is there a name tag on here for? And it just so happened that I remembered that a few weeks back, I went to a job fair. I was called to go to this job fair um, in my city, and I got hired on the spot. And it was an interesting day that is kind of this one of the pieces of why it feels like my world is shifting really rapidly. There's a few things happening, and that was one of them. And it just kind of happened so quickly. But I was reminded with seeing this name tag that I've kept it secret, these few things that are happening in my world. I have been setting this energetic boundary with the people around me where I don't really want to express these new things. I'm just feeling like it's in this incubation period, and I just want to keep everything kind of hidden from the world around me. And I'm wondering if anyone else has done that before, where something like really cool has happened in their world, but they've kind of kept it a secret. And they're like, you know what? Like, it's so fresh and new. Like, I just want to kind of hold on to it. I don't want to have to tell everyone about it. It's reminding me of when I was pregnant and I didn't want to tell anyone. And I definitely have tendencies of like keeping secrets. It's just totally in my nature. But it was really nice. It was really nice to have this life growing inside of me. And like I was the only person to know about it, me and my husband. And he's so different. He wanted to tell everyone, and he like told people. And I was like, listen, like, we need to wait until the 12-week mark. Like, I'm not comfortable telling people until that point. And he didn't really understand it. And he just wanted to tell everyone. And I was like, no, like, it, yes, for if something happens, I don't have to go back and be like, oh, just kidding. But also, it just was really nice to have this be my little thing. And I was walking around and I had this little secret and no one knew. And it was full of like possibility and dream and wonder. And I just got to keep that all for myself. I didn't have to share. I don't really like sharing. I've never liked sharing. And and yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about these new things happening in my world. Like I just don't want anyone to know about it. And there's always a time where you get to like express, and I'm trying not to seek external validation. That's another thing that I've been working on as well. Like there's been so many times in my life where I'm like, oh, like I'm not sure if I want to do something. I'm not sure if I want to wear something. I'm not sure if I want to be something. So I like spew out all of my ideas. And then depending on people's reactions, I either do or do not. And a lot of the time, people's reactions would totally like ruin my vibe. And I'm like, I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to have this thing anymore. I don't want to, like, it just ruined it. And there's this element of like protecting your energy being in this like super vulnerable space. And it, like a birth, like a pregnancy, I mean, like it's this like incubation space where things are delicate and you don't have all the answers, and you don't really want to just like talk about all these endless possibilities and endless things. You just because you don't have the answers to the questions. And so it feels really nice to just like hold things close to my chest. And I've been accused by my mother. She's like, "You're just always keeping secrets from me." And I'm like, I'm not doing it on purpose per se, but like I just don't want I just want to keep things close to my chest. I don't want to have to, she's always like, "What else is new?" What like I feel like she's like trying to draw out these like pieces of my life, and it doesn't feel authentic to me sometimes. Like it doesn't feel like it's the conversation that I want to have. Like when you ask somebody what else is new, you're basically like, "Entertain me." That's not my job. It's not my job to entertain you with my life. Did that sound really bitchy? Did that sound like my inner teenager coming out? Maybe. Unresolved mommy issues, I'm sure. Her and I had a really good conversation the other day. I think it was yesterday. We had a really nice chat about parenting and life. And it doesn't happen super often where we actually like get deep and have real conversations. And at the end of it, she was like, "I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today." And I was like, "I did too." And it was really nice to have that moment because it's been a tough go with her my entire life. It's been a tough go. We've had a lot of really beautiful moments, but a lot of really strained and challenging ones as well. And when these beautiful moments happen, it is really wonderful to be a part of them. My stepmom, she recently lost her mom, and my mother-in-law has lost her mom. And they both were like, they were like, she was my best friend. And like they talk about like they're like, I miss her. Like I talk to her, I miss her. And I've always felt like I've never had the relationship with my mother to have those same thoughts. Not to sound cold, but it's a different relationship than from what I've seen from other people. And I know in my heart that there's going to be a day where I am going to be like, "Oh my God, I just miss my mom." Like, "Oh my God, like I wish I had my mom's hug. I wish that I had my mom's cooking." I know that that day is going to come. But it still doesn't change the fact that the relationship here and now is the way that it is. And over these past many years now, really, you hit a point where you realize that your parents are just people and they don't know what they're doing. And they did the best they could and they loved you in the way that they did. And you may have opinions about the way that they did it, but at the end of the day, they're just going through it just like you are. And they want you to be happy and they want you to be proud of yourself, and they want you to love them and want to spend time. They want you to want to spend time with them. And so you hit this point where you realize those things and you start to see your parents in a different light. But I'm not in a position where I'm like, I need to force anything. I feel like I've spent the time healing what I need to heal up until this point about what I would say my beef is with my parents, my upbringing, And I'm at a point where, I know that I am the one responsible for taking steps in this world. And no matter what, every day I get to wake up and I get to choose how to live my life. And I know that they're there. And I do call and message them. And I do ask to see them. And they do ask to see me. But we're certainly not like BFFs. I know that there's so many, especially mom and daughter duos that are like super close, and that just hasn't been my reality. Part of the reason why I I was a little bit nervous to have children. I felt like I was broken and I felt like I didn't have the best upbringing, and I was nervous that I was going to not be a good parent. I was nervous that I wasn't going to know what to do or how to treat my children. And I've especially thought about that when it comes to having a daughter. That relationship is challenging. But I've thought a lot about how I think it would be so beautiful and amazing to have a daughter, to heal, to continue to heal, you know, my lineage, and to find grace and understanding and gratitude for my mom and my grandmothers and all the other women in my life. And having one child, having a son, I've learned so much, and I am so grateful for my experience. And I get to see my parents be grandparents and see the joy on their face. And it's been very healing to see them interact with my son. And at some level, I'm like, that's what they were like with me at some point, I think. Or at least I'm going to think that, because it brings me joy to think that them being so mesmerized by him is how they were with me. Definitely complicated, but beautiful, isn't it? Seeing everything come full circle. I hope you're having a really beautiful day. And thank you so much for being here, for listening. And I look forward to seeing you soon.